on, man? It's weird being on a Tuesday night instead of a Monday night. I feel almost like we missed something here. I don't know.
This is like Tuesday nights are like bizarro sports night. I'm finding out because you're like in the nether regions.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, everybody's sort of like the football hangover, and then some things are starting to happen, and some responses to things that happened over the weekend. I don't know. It's almost like missing a day of work, when you go back that next day and you feel like you just missed everything. And you're like, I hope I never miss a day again.
It's like you're perhaps, maybe it's not everybody, but perhaps you're rejoicing from reaching your fantasy football championship game and then also coming to the sobering conclusion that all of your players have crappy matchups.
Yeah. That would be one of those things too, I guess.
I got Cutler versus Detroit, Le'Veon Bell versus Kansas City, Odell Beckham versus St. Louis, C.J. Anderson versus Cincinnati, Julius Thomas versus Cincinnati, Josh Gordon versus Carolina. Even I can't play Detroit against Chicago because I'm playing Cutler. I'm going to play Cutler. My team name is Cuddy Does It. I'm riding him into the dirt here. So I got to go with Denver at Cincinnati. I'm not really a big fan of that matchup either right now. It's just blah.
I got to tell you though, but I don't think I think there's a lot of terrible matchups, and I bet you're going to win with that team right there.
God, I hope so. I've already started talking junk, so God, I hope so.
Yeah, I'm here for you, brother. I'm here.
Thanks, appreciate it.
You can even cry on my shoulder if you need to.
So, because it's Tuesday and we're both just kind of psychologically wasted right now.
Yes.
This is going to be fun, kids, by the way. So if you're listening and you want to break up the monotony, 585-633-7487, 585-633-7487. Also hit us up on Twitter at 87sportsfans.
And Keith, we also should remind people, catch us tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah, Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. The Fantasy Greek starts and sits in 60 minutes. Championship game edition, folks. Cannot screw this up right here on LateNightSportsRadio.com.
Plus, we talk football, so, I mean, it's not just fantasy, but we give our predictions and why we think a team will win and lose, and at least listen in for that.
Right. The most entertaining hour of football, I think, anywhere, but I am biased.
Yeah, we get good calls, so, there's some interesting ones.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just, like the guy calling in saying, hey, I'm about to, gamble $1,000. What do you think? Oh, hey.
I think
it's your money, not mine.
Personally, I think you're stupid, but hey, that's just my opinion. Go for it.
No. We did not say that about anybody.
I say that not because I'm judging anybody, but because I don't have $1,000 to throw away on football.
Yeah,
that's pure jealousy, folks. Pure jealousy.
Pure jealousy.
Don't read it any other way. All right, so what stood out from you last week? I mean, I was really shocked that the Bills pulled that off. And not so much that the Bills played the game that they did, because I think that's their kind of MO is place, punch them in the face defense and pray your points come from somewhere. But I was really disappointed in Green Bay's execution in that game.
Yeah, I read the game review that Jim Wiedner did on the fantasygreek.com. It was excellent. And the thing that stood out to me was how Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb apparently didn't show up for Aaron Rodgers. It sounded like, it was a tough game. It was a battle, but it sounds like Green Bay left a lot of cards on the table.
Jordy Nelson targeted 12 times, but only 5 catches.
That's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a rough. It's a very un-Packers-like performance.
Yeah. But, look at the Bills. I mean, these last few weeks, they've been just unstoppable, and it doesn't matter who the quarterback's been. And, while a couple weeks ago I was the one thinking, Miami, they're going to make the playoffs here because they were playing strong. Their offense was coming together and their defense was coming together. They're the ones that seemingly their train's off the track, while the Bills are just bearing down on a run at one of those wild card spots.
Yep, and for the Bills now, they averaged 3.4 yards per carry, with 3 different running backs. Orton, 14 of 27 for 158 yards and a pick. But where do they get their points? They get their points from field goals, a punt return, and a safety. They're just finding ways to win.
And that's impressive. That's absolutely impressive. And they've got a great strong finish to the season. I mean, this week, they should just bury the Raiders. I mean, they should. And Freddie Jack's our man. He should have a huge game. Hey, Jackson, play him in fantasy.
I'll give you a for the Jackson little voice there.
I love Freddie Jacks. I remember one season I had him on my team. Everybody thought he was just going to be a bust, and he was just amazing. Anyway,
it's just the Bills running back situation has just been murky because they've all been pretty good. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You never know who's going to be the bell cow, and it turns out that none of them are. They just kind of spread it around. It just irritates you from a fantasy perspective. The other thing I want to talk about, Johnny Manziel and the Browns. Now, I'm not all that surprised that Manziel put up a stinker because it's his first start. Anybody who knows the game of football knew that Manziel was not NFL ready coming out of college. So Cincinnati's got a good defense, folks. It's not just because they're up and down doesn't mean that they're going to get walked over just because the guy with the fancy celebration comes on the field. Cincinnati's got a good defense, but I'm more disappointed in the Browns' defense, how they got shredded by Jeremy Hill.
Yeah, that was a big story. Hill just did them wrong. Now, it's not like the Browns have the best rushing defense in the league. Let's start there. But Jeremy Hill that was outstanding. That was a nice way to make up for a couple of really bad weeks. But we sort of saw it coming with the Hugh Jackson indicating that his preference was to lean on one running back. In fact, I think his sort of exact words, but not exactly this, where it takes time for a running back to get lathered up is what he said. And I think he was referring to a running back being more of an animal. And I'm not sure what kind of an animal, but that's what I think he was referring to.
What animals are getting lathered up?
Yeah, from running, and you get, sweaty and hot, and you get going, and anyway.
I don't think I like the word lather anymore.
Yeah.
I think it ranks right up there with moist.
But the fact, my wife doesn't like that word. But the fact that he used that in any context, I think there are bonus points for it.
I found that most females, I shouldn't say most people that I know that have a problem with that word are females.
See, I can't tell you one way or the other. I can just tell you my wife does. Yeah.
Another brick in the wall right there. Another name.
Oh, there we go. So the whole Johnny Manziel thing, I think there were a couple. Well, first off, going into the game on paper, it didn't look all too bad of a matchup. I mean, I suppose you could say it was 50-50. He was either going to do well, and what I mean by well is just well, not fantastic, just well, or it was going to be a stinker. But there were some numbers that supported him, and we saw some, when the Browns put him in the week before, he was able to march the team down 60 yards, I think it was, for a score. And you're thinking, okay, kid should be at least good for one score, maybe two. But he was terrible. He was awful. The Bengals just showed up and just said, not you, Rook. And, I mean, it was sort of fitting when they made those little Johnny Manziel hand gestures, like, show me the money, every time they sacked him and every time, they just ruined plays. And I got to tell you, I have absolutely no pity for the kid. None.
Yeah, no, he did that to himself.
Oh, yeah.
He's that guy that, it sounds like a sitcom. The guy that comes out and is so cocky and arrogant and then ends up getting a cream pie in the face, on a sitcom. You love it and whatever. And the Bengals that were taunting him, I applaud every single one of them because I would have been doing the same exact thing if that was me.
Pac-Man Jones taunted him. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, the guy that made it rain. Remember? Oh, there's so many. Who's got the better money celebrations? Just saying. Just saying. The other thing that kind of stood out to me, looking at that, was the Dallas Cowboys performance in Philadelphia. Because this was a game that they were winning big, and then they started to choke it away, and then were able to take control of it late and put it away. I thought this was a big, what's the word, progression game for this Dallas Cowboys team. I don't know. What do you think about that take?
Well, it goes back to, the Cowboys are sticking to their game plan. They plan on rushing the ball a certain amount. They plan on doing certain things. Their defense showed up. Mark Sanchez should have had, I think, a better game than what he did have. They couldn't get their ground game going worth a lick, and that was an aspect of their game that should have gotten going against the Cowboys, and it didn't. So, the Cowboys right now, they're the most impressive team, and as Ben Franklin, one of the writers for the FantasyGreek.com, wrote, I think he wrote it in his review, or maybe I heard it somewhere else. Not sure. But the point is that there's a good chance here that the Eagles don't make it because of the loss yesterday. Make it to the playoffs, and that's a big deal.
Yeah, one game right there pretty much set the just changed the league really going forward for this season.
Yeah. And and it's the first time, and Ben did write this. Ben wrote about how different this Cowboys team was in that game yesterday. Every time you thought, okay, here it comes, the Eagles are marching back, the Cowboys deflated the opportunity. They sort of went back to what they were supposed to be doing, scoring, and they did. They took the game in hand, and that's just not the Cowboys team that Cowboys fans especially have been used to these last few years.
Yeah. Even when Romo was doing his best Romo when he coughed that ball up in a crucial spot. But they were able to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and put the game away.
Yeah. I'm really stunned that DeMarco Murray had who broke his one of the bones, I think it's his fourth metatarsal, right at the base of his left ring finger, is actually going to play this weekend.
Seriously, now, if you're the Cowboys, it's no secret that DeMarco Murray has had fumble issues. You're not hurting the guy's feelings. Everybody knows it. Why would you take that risk? You know what I mean?
Well, I think there's a couple. Well, first of all, somewhere I read that it was the same injury, and it was a reminder to me of the injury that, what was his name, Broncos running back, Willis McGahee, had a similar injury, and he missed 1 week because of it, and then was able to come back, and he was that stalwart running back we were used to, basically, just a soldier, just a warrior. And, I think to sit DeMarco Murray for 1 week is not such a bad idea. He's going to be one of the players they're going to depend on if they make the playoffs. I'm sure they can do something to numb up any pain that he might feel, but I just think to myself, it's not even an issue about using the hand, even though suddenly I would think he can't stiff arm. But just every hit, every impact, that jarring, it doesn't even have to be on his hand. It could be on any part of his body. He's going to feel it. And I think that's amazing.
I think you're taking a chance on short-term game and sacrificing possible long-term.
That would be the concern. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Do they need to win this game? I suppose so. But can they win it without him? Why not? There's nothing about the Colts' run defense that should make them worry. If you want, suit the guy up and just have him there in case you need him.
Right. I don't know. I just think in a season where Jason Garrett's job is on the line at every snap, you think? Yeah. I would think there'd be a little bit more caution there. And
I know there's a record on the line held by I think it's Emmitt Smith that he's trying to break, 87 yards he needs. He could break that the following week.
Yeah. If the Cowboys are doing what the Cowboys do, he can break that in his sleep.
Yeah. So I just can't imagine having surgery one day and then a few days later being on a football field playing football. Anyway,
Seahawks beat the 49ers 17-7. You think Harbaugh's done in San Francisco?
Yeah, well, first of all, huge win for the Seahawks.
Yeah,
let's start right there.
Yeah, they're rounding into form nicely.
Yeah, NFC West is theirs. Big game this weekend against the Cardinals. They could lock it all up. Yeah, the more you hear the story that he's not liked by management or he's on his way out, it almost seems like the more it's becoming reality, even if it wasn't true to start with.
Right. Self-fulfilling prophecy a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Yeah, let's say he's denying it to his players. There's only